name was Madison, 17 years old, straight blonde hair, blue eyes that used to laugh. Used to. Her parents, James and Carol, from Portland, Oregon, had tried everything. Therapy, 3 therapists, actually. Medication that helped for 6 weeks and then stopped working. 2 different high schools and for years. A family counselor who quit after the 6th session. A wilderness program in Utah that cost $11,000. And returned a daughter who was angrier on the flight home than she had been on the way there. Madison was not a bad person. She was not cruel, not violent, but she was lost, deeply, dangerously lost, in a way her parents could feel but not measure, and could not find the edge of no matter how far they reached. The anger had started small, slammed doors at 14, a night she didn't come home at 15. Then came the friends no one knew, whose names she wouldn't share. The grades didn't just drop, they collapsed, overnight, like something had cut the rope holding them up. And then came the night that changed everything. Not crying, not afraid, just sitting there in the dark, staring down at the empty street, perfectly still. The expression on her face was one he had never seen before and could not stop seeing afterward. The look of a person who is already somewhere else, behind eyes that have stopped letting anyone in. James found her at 2 in the morning on the roof. He called her name. She turned and looked at him, and there it was. The look Carol had been trying for months to explain to the therapists. The one that was impossible to describe and impossible to forget. James sat in the hallway outside her room for a long time after that. In the morning, he opened his laptop and typed something he never imagined himself typing. He typed, "Can sending a teenager abroad actually fix them?" He did not believe it, but he had run out of everything else. Carol's younger sister had married a Filipino man named Rodrigo 20 years ago. They lived in a small town in Batangas, a province 2 hours south of Manila, where the mountains are green year-round and the air smells like rain and ocean, and where the idea of rushing through a day has not yet arrived and is not expected. They had 4 children, a modest house with a wide porch, a small plot of land where they grew vegetables and raised chickens, and living with them in the best chair in the sala, occupying the largest share of everyone's time, was Rodrigo's mother, Lola Caring, 79 years old, 4 feet 11 inches tall, more energy than anyone half her age. Carol called her sister the same night James showed her the laptop. She didn't know exactly what she was asking for. Her sister listened for a long time. Then she said, "Send Madison to us for the summer. No negotiating. Just send her." Carol said she will not want to come. Her sister said she doesn't have to want to. She just has to arrive. They told Madison on a Saturday morning. Her reaction arrived in 3 stages. First she laughed, the short, disbelieving kind. Then she went very quiet, which was worse than the laughter. Then she said, "You are literally sending me to another country, because you don't know what to do with me." No one answered, because there was no clean answer. They put her on the plane anyway. 1 suitcase, a shoulder bag, a phone she was allowed to use for 30 minutes. Tucked into the front pocket of her carry-on, a letter Carol had written at the kitchen table at midnight. Madison found it going through airport security. She put it back without opening it. She watched Portland disappear through the window. She put her headphones in. Somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, in that strange suspended nowhere between one life and whatever came after it, she closed her eyes and slept. It was the first time in 4 months she had fallen asleep without medication. She did not know it, but her body did. The first week was the hardest thing Madison had ever survived, and nothing dramatic happened. That was exactly the point. No Wi-Fi in the house, no data except her 30-minute window, no Netflix, no group chats, no scroll to disappear into, no background noise to keep her from herself. For the first time in 3 years, Madison was simply where she was. She hated it, She told 8B, the cousin her age who had claimed her immediately with warmth, that she was bored. 8B handed her a broom. That was how it started. Every morning at 5:15, before the sun was up, Lola Caring was already awake, kneeling in the sala in front of a small image of the Virgin Mary with a single candle lit, speaking quietly to herself. The first time Madison heard it, she lay in bed confused by the sound. It was not the kind of praying she had seen. It was a conversation, patient, private. The way you speak to someone you have known so long that you no longer need to be impressive. By the end of the first week, Madison was waking up earlier on purpose, not to pray, just to listen. The days in Batangas had a rhythm she had never experienced anywhere. Wake, pray, cook together, eat together, work, rest, eat together again, talk on the porch until the stars came out, sleep, no pressure to perform, no requirement to be okay or interesting. The family never once asked what was wrong with her, never asked about Portland or the schools. They just made room for her at the table and handed her things to do and laughed when she failed at them. She burned the sinigang the first time she tried. The whole family laughed, not meanly, not the way that means you failed, the way that means you are one of us now, and we have all burned the sinigang. Madison laughed too. She noticed it afterward, the way it had come out so easily, that laugh, like something she had been carrying folded up inside. On a Tuesday evening in her third week, she sat on the porch with Lola Caring while the sun went down behind the mountains. She had the letter in her hand, still sealed. She had been carrying it for 3 weeks. She did not know why she hadn't thrown it away. Lola Caring looked at the envelope, then at Madison, then back out at the mountains. She said nothing. She just waited. Madison opened it. Her mother had written in pencil, and the handwriting was uneven in places where the hand had lost steadiness. I am not sending you away because I gave up. I am sending you because I love you too much to watch you disappear. When you were small, you were the most alive person I had ever seen. I need you to find that again. I believe it is still in you. Madison read it twice. Then she folded forward and put her face in her hands. Lola Caring knew what a person looked like when they finally set something heavy down. She put her arm around Madison. Madison did not pull away. She held on. The two of them stayed on that porch until the candles came out inside, and the stars appeared above the mountains, and the night wrapped around them like something patient and kind. 6 weeks of isolation and growth in the Philippines have led to this one singular, quiet moment of connection. Madison reaches out, her heart heavy with the need to bridge the physical and emotional distance to the world she left behind. In Portland, the world is still asleep. The cool, blue light of 5:30 a.m. greets a phone vibrating on a bedside table. James answers, his face glowing in the dark. He whispers a name he hasn't spoken aloud in over a month. Madison. Hi, Dad. Madison's voice travels across oceans, sounding more grounded and calm than he has ever heard her before. She tells them of 8B, who finds joy in the simple act of stirring a steaming pot of sinigang for others. She speaks of the vibrant jeepneys, packed with families whose songs drown out the noise of the dusty tropical roads. She shares the sight of a community mending a storm-damaged roof, where the only thing more abundant than the work is the laughter. Back in Oregon, Carol listens from the doorway. Every word from her daughter is a gift she wasn't sure she would receive today. Madison pulls a folded letter from her pocket, realizing the person she was when she wrote it no longer exists. Relief washes over the kitchen in Portland. The fear of the unknown is finally replaced by the warmth of a daughter's voice. Nobody here has very much, she says, but I haven't heard one person say they feel empty. I think the problem was never the things. I didn't know how to be present. James chokes back tears, telling his daughter how proud they are of the woman she's becoming. Madison smiles through a tear. For the first time, she truly believes she is enough, and she finally knows her place in the world. Returning the phone to Rodrigo, she carries a new piece. The distance is still there, but the heart is finally home. After months in the Philippines, I finally made it back to Portland. I looked the same, but felt entirely different. The automatic doors slid open, and there they were. Seeing my parents holding that silly sign, it hit me. I was home, but home meant something new now. The silence of the terminal felt different after the vibrant chaos of Batangas. I didn't realize how much weight I had been carrying until I felt their arms around me. As we drove through the familiar gray streets, I looked at the coffee shops and the overcast sky with new eyes. I told them I want to bring them back there someday, not to escape our life here, but to show them what I learned. I told them about the small house in Batangas, where Lola would pray in the dark, and no one ever ate alone. I explained Bayanihan, the spirit of a community carrying the weight of a house together. I thought I had to do everything by myself, but the journey taught me that we are meant to be held by each other. We are meant to belong. Now, the quiet in the car feels peaceful, not lonely. I am finally safe, and I am finally home. Salamat sa inyong panood. Thank you for being part of my journey. Call your family tonight.